My name is Jerry Lee Bulala. I'm a 2017 Krista Colleague, and I served with AmeriCorps with the Northwest Leadership Foundation's Act 6 Scholarship Program in Tacoma for 2 years. When I graduated from Pacific Lutheran University, I specifically remember walking across the stage to receive my diploma. As I walked across the stage, I noticed a shift in my desire to pursue law enforcement as a career was no longer there. After spending 4 years focused on that specific goal, I felt lost. Although it felt like I had wasted time, I entered into a season of discernment. I'd like to share with you my story of discernment during that season and how discernment was a key ingredient to my resilience with life decisions from then until now. Service has always been part of who I am. My upbringing in a military family that had taught me to be selfless. I volunteered at the Red Cross and was a reading tutor for elementary students. After college, I had found that there was an AmeriCorps position with the Act 6 program. The Act 6 scholarship program provides a full tuition, full need scholarship to students who want to use their leadership in college education to bring change to their college campus and their communities. I became friends with many Act 6 scholars at my university. We shared similar experiences growing up, as most of us were students of color who had the odds against us to get through college. I was excited about this opportunity to give me a new sense of direction in my career, but I was also scared not knowing what the next 10 and a half months of service, mentoring, and teaching new college students would look like. Sure enough, it was a time of my life. I discovered student affairs was now a vocation of mine, but regardless, I noticed that making big life decisions was still following me. After doing an additional year of AmeriCorps, I became a full-time employee for Act 6 as a college success coordinator, where I could support on-campus scholars in a larger role. Despite this switch, I felt like my service had never ended. Rather, it continued, and I didn't have a proper closure to it, and I had great difficulty making sense of my experiences. Participating in the Krista Foundation's debriefing retreat here in Spokane proved a valuable bridge for grappling with these challenges. The retreat is a time for Krista colleagues who did a year of service to come together to process our experiences in service. At my retreat, we were a diverse mix of Krista colleagues who served in the Pacific Northwest, California, Chicago, South America, and Africa. We each had our own respective experiences, but our stories had one thing in common, and that is resilience through tough times of service. To help us further be resilient, we engage in a guided discernment process on how to thoughtfully navigate through vocation decisions. Some of the questions we examine about ourselves are about our values, interests, and passions, and of course, very practical considerations. I had gone into debriefing weekend having a feeling that my time with Act 6 would eventually come to an end. This discernment activity gave me a chance to process that. In particular, it reminded me of helping a student during a difficult time on campus and why I found it to be a meaningful experience. One day, I was on campus to check on my students where I had a conversation that I will never forget. A student of mine was having an incredibly tough time on campus. She was accepted into the nursing program, but there was something wrong that I had picked up just by talking to her. I acknowledged that first semesters can be really hard and wondered if this was the case for her. She replied to me that she was intending on dropping out of college. We sat there for an hour in the University Center building. She had gotten a B- in one of her nursing classes and was given notice that she'd be dropped from the nursing program. She knew that this wasn't working and needed to find something else. As we spoke, I explained to her that dropping out is definitely one way of solving this issue, but staying in school is something that is important for her future. After some time, she took my words of advice and decided to stay at the university where today she's a junior and thriving in the social work program. She found her new vocation. This experience of accompanying her further confirmed my desire to move forward toward a vocation in student affairs. 2 months ago, similar to how my student was contemplating moving on to other things, I had found myself in her shoes. I remember the discernment activity during the debriefing retreat and how one of my questions I was wrestling with was my transition from Act 6. As I recognized this, I began asking myself, what new skills will I learn if I stay here? Are there career opportunities now that I'll miss if I stay in this job? I weighed my options, considered the pros and cons of staying or leaving. I asked myself if it would be possible to be jobless for a while, until I found a student affairs related position. After weeks of unraveling this tangled question and listening to what my heart was trying to tell me about vocation, my discernment came to a close, and I am now prepared for my journey into student affairs. I already feel assured that my transition will be well supported by the peer mentoring community in the Krista Foundation, where some colleagues are also engaged in student affairs. These types of decisions and life events happen to everyone. It all depends on when they will happen and how they're handled. Although I don't have the answers for what is next in my career, attending the debriefing retreat with the Krista Foundation equipped me with tools for discernment that were valuable for me in this career move, where I'm happier and hopeful for what is next to come. This is my story. I hope it gives you an idea of what people who do a year or two of service experience, and how the Krista Foundation is there to support people like me who are in transition. Thank you.